for every once they get caught, they probably get away with it 20 times.
Oxford Street is one of the most famous shopping streets in the world. 200 million people come here every year. They spend a fortune, but they also lose a fortune to thieves. Each week, criminals steal from the shops and shoppers at least £2 million. There are 350 shops and stores in Oxford Street. 60,000 people work here. Watching over them is a police force of fewer than 50 officers. Shoplifters and street thieves are a constant threat. The staff of this shoe shop suspect they're about to be robbed. A group of young men have been acting suspiciously. The gang don't know there's a video surveillance system. A panic alarm has been pressed and the police are on their way. But a fight has already started.
The store's called Foothold, and the report is that there's a group of males who are trashing the store. The security guard's under attack, and they're armed with knives and bottles. Looks like they caused quite a bit of chaos in there, and as you can see, there's some staff in there. They seem pretty shaken up, and it's one of these things that happen down here now, I'm afraid.
They were very rude. We thought, right, OK, fair enough. We'll just keep an eye on them. So I came downstairs. We've recently got a new thing in, and so I started following them around with the cameras.
We thought they might be trying to steal something. It was the case. They left the store, and our security guard tried to apprehend them and asked them to come back to the store, and they ran off, and we thought that was the end of it.
We've got a code of what we're supposed to do, but to be honest, in a crisis, it all goes out the window.
Unfortunately, one youth came back with a bottle and threw it at the security guard.
When that all started happening, I just pressed the panic button, but it was really tense. It was really quite horrible.
A situation like this, we've only just had our cameras installed in store, and it'll prove to be a valuable piece of equipment, but certainly through the whole street for the police as well.
We have this continual battle against the out-of-town shopping areas who all have very sophisticated CCTV systems, so their customers feel safe. The crime rate in Oxford Street is very high. There is a lot of crime that we believe will be eradicated by these cameras.
Until the street CCTV went in last April, surveillance cameras were used mainly by the major stores, usually to catch shoplifters. This store has the biggest and most sophisticated system in the street. More than 160 cameras keep a discreet eye on the stock.
Which one is it, buddy? F2, yeah?
They're watched by security men who also work the cameras and keep a lookout for likely thieves. Once the operators have a suspect on camera, they can call up undercover detectives and uniformed guards.
New number.
Guard, I don't want a 3 yet.
Right, stay away.
No one knows how many people try to steal from shops.
Right, there's an orange children's wear item.
But in this store, thieves are only charged when there's proof on videotape of the goods actually being selected and then concealed.
They've got selection now on those two orange garments, and the hangers are coming off. There we go. And what she's doing now, she's
putting one garment over the top of the other garment and slowly putting the other garment underneath. She's tucking it into the bag. So she's got like a little cover to conceal what she's doing. So you can't see the tracksuit bottoms anymore. And what she's done, she's tucking it into her bag. Right, see, rolling them up. They're about to go into her bag, look. Let's get that on camera. And the detective has seen approach and selection, so we can arrest the female when she goes to leave. Because between the two of us, we've kept continuity.
We have to hold the continuity on the basis that if we lose them for any length of time, they may pay for the item, they may return the item to the actual display, or they may pass it on to a second party who goes and purchases the item. So we hold a continuity, and then they have to leave the store without making any attempt to pay as well. By law, it states that after selection, concealment, and walking by till points without purchasing the goods is actually shoplifting.
Alright guys, we are on inside standby. I repeat, we are on inside standby. I see one female, brown jacket, blue jeans, white headscarf wrapped around the back of her head and neck. Feynman's doors, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, out the doors on Feynman's.
We have to be 200% sure that the goods the person has are ours and they did not pay for them. This system here, when it first went in about 3 years ago, consisted of 84 cameras. But over the years, and as your store develops, you need to increase your camera coverage, so you just add on extra cameras. So we're now up to 162.
We're not talking about the pensioner or the person who's unemployed who steals some food. We're actually talking about professional criminals. There are professional shoplifters who individually are earning, and that means that they're stealing twice as much, over £1,000 a week. That sounds an awful lot. It is not a lot. If you take a dozen silk dresses at £100, that's £1,200.
They're professional criminals, often linked to other types of crimes. So people who steal from shops will not just be involved in shop theft. They'll be burglars, they'll be involved in drugs, they'll be involved in cheque fraud, and so on. They'll visit 4, 5, 6 stores a day, some individually, some in teams. We know that some individuals are responsible for theft of up to £100,000 or more. And we know that there are teams of thieves out there who might be responsible for between £1 and £2 million a year.
So many shoplifters are caught each day by the stores that the local police station runs a regular van service to pick them up. The officers are known as the Tyburn team.
Well, we've got a female adult detained at BHS for shoplifting, and my colleague here, Sabrina, is going down to investigate it, basically.
We're only a couple of minutes away, depending on traffic. Things like this doesn't happen much either, with people parked up on the W lines outside the hotel.
It's probably one of our most regular calls, shoplifters along Oxford Street. The store usually says that they're in an agitated state, or they're fighting, or they're struggling to get them back in the store, etc. And then the control room gives us an idea of what to expect and whether we're going to charge down there or just take our time, basically.
Many of the shoplifters caught in Oxford Street at first claim they're not British.
A lot of the people that they detain, they'll plead, I don't speak English, but they understand everything normally. But at the end of the day, we still need to get an interpreter for them because we don't want them to have an excuse to say we don't speak English. So tourists normally carry their passports with them, or at least their hotel keys, or at least some sort of correspondence. The drug addicts don't usually carry anything except their sleeping bag.
With regards to professionals, you can usually tell because they steal in bulk. They'll steal maybe 5 or 6 pairs of jeans at £90 a piece, whereas the tourists will steal 1 or 2 things and then leave it at that.
The stores, in fact, don't like them to be called shoplifters because that makes them sound as though they are the housewife just stealing something. They come in prepared to steal. They're on a par with burglars and robbers.
Tyburn Squad crime figures show that 80% of all criminals caught in Oxford Street live outside London. and that most steal for a living.
It's not normally their first time that they have been shoplifting. They've normally done it before, got away with it, and thought they'd get away with it again.
You do hear some hard luck stories, and we don't sympathise with them, but we can understand why they do it sometimes.
But I don't believe any of it. Because you hear so much, don't you? You know. Especially from shoplifters.
Unit calling you virtually readable. Try again.
Last year, 3,128 people were arrested for shop theft in Oxford Street. This is where they all ended up. Marylebone Police Station's custody suite.
Thieves play the odds. We believe that for every once they get caught, they probably get away with it 20 times. So what we've got to do is reduce the odds. And I think we're doing that.
It's now 8 in the evening. This Tyburn shift is almost over. But there's one more suspect to be dealt with.
Sergeant, this man's been arrested at C&A Oxford Street for theft shoplifting. He was seen by a member of the security staff in the basement menswear area to select a gent's coat, value £199. He took the coat from the display and put it upon himself. He was then seen again putting his hand in the pocket where the security tags are kept and was seen to tug at it. He then took the escalator down to the ground floor and then walked to the main door onto Oxford Street, exiting it out onto the street, passing several till points, making no attempt to pay for the item. I heard the allegation it was made in the full presence and hearing of this gentleman, although he speaks limited English.
What language are you? Vietnamese, sir. Tell you, this rocket, yeah, I'm not naked in it. And I told this CNA, I say this CNA, yeah, manager, I say, if I naked, can you get from camera for me see it? And he not camera and everything in it, you know.
You sort of think, well, I've heard this all before, but you deal with so many shoplifters out of Oxford Street that don't speak English. And we've got a good interpreter system.
Well, now, while you're here, I've got to ascertain what property you have with you. The officer's going to search you.
There's not a day goes by where we don't get an interpreter into the station. And I've used the Vietnamese interpreters quite a lot before, so I was quite confident that we'd have no language barrier.
Can you read English? Yeah, I can't read English.
Often when you get a piece of videotape, a picture paints 1,000 words, so if you can actually see it on tape, you know, everything that they're sort of explaining to you becomes clear.
Yeah, we need the belt, mate. The belt, the lighter, and that coat.
You do listen to them, and you know, there are a lot of reasons why people might commit the crime, and they might have their own reasons, and everyone's got their own reason. But you do have to distance yourself from that a little bit.
These are illegal street traders, the people the stores hate most after shop thieves. They sell clothing, jewellery and perfume. The goods are usually fake, clever copies of well-known designer brand names.
Right, isn't it?
Street traders are difficult to catch in the act. They have lookouts who warn them when the police are coming.
What size are you after, my friend?
The usual claim is that the goods are cheap because they're stolen.
These real, though? Of course they're real. Everything's real what we sell, mate.
These scenes were recorded by Westminster Council last year. They're releasing them now to show how videotape will be used to prosecute illegal street gangs in the future.
20 the jeans, 25 the jackets, mate. What size are you after, mate?
The police are also involved. Officers in plain clothes from the Tyburn squad have set up an observation point near Oxford Circus.
We've got a number of teams working all around Oxford Street, right round to Regent Street junction there. You've got all different lookouts looking for people coming up the stairs. It's quite a complex setup, and so you see who holds the bag, who makes the bogus purchases, who holds the money, who's doing the selling, who's keeping lookout. There's all these jobs that these people do, so it's good sometimes just to come up here so you can see exactly the whole setup.
They're not just people who are trying to make £5 a day or anything like that. The top people are getting millions and millions a year. It causes a lot of grief. We get a lot of complaints about these people. They're nasty people. They're conning the public. The money is going to organised crime, and something needs to be done about it. Normally in an operation like this, you'll find about 3 or 4 stooges at least, a couple of bagmen who are holding stock out of sight, and 1 or 2 money men, depending on how well they're doing. What will happen is stooges will take money off the main man. They will pretend to buy the perfume. This will entice in the customers who will buy the perfume. The raw essence that's contained in these cartons is only going to cost the people who are organising this about 50p. The people who then buy it off them and bring it out onto the street, it probably costs them about £1, £1.50. Therefore, if they're selling them at £10 for 1 or £20 for 3, hell of a profit. The Oxford Circus lot, each tray is doing 350 an hour, and you've got about 6 or 7 trays going. So if you add that up, around the Oxford Circus area alone, you're talking £1.5 million a year. The boss on the street will be there to run the whole operation at street level. He'll be there to stop rival traders from coming and taking his patch. He's been on that street for years, in that same patch for years, same spot. He runs it. If you stay there long enough, like I have, you will see lots of arguments with rival people who set up, but he always seems to win out.
The police mission is gathering evidence too.
I've seen this gentleman here who's traded for some 5, 6 minutes, and you can see his setup. So what we'll do, we'll go and ask him if he has got a licence to trade there. It's apparent and obvious to us that he will not have that, and then we'll make an arrest. There's various offences committed here: street trading, highway obstruction, and possession of counterfeit goods for gain. Been clocked. Huh? You've just been clocked.
Police made 146 arrests for illegal street trading last year. Westminster Council seized counterfeit goods on 500 separate occasions. Below ground, in Oxford Circus Tube Station, a team of trading standards enforcers is on the move. They aim to surprise the illegal traders by hitting them from behind.
Trading standards, we're seizing these. Thank you very much. You stay there. You stay there. Right, we're going to take these goods under the Trademarks Act. You'll get a receipt, etc., etc. We've got the police with us.
The Tyburn team haven't had a wasted day either. 1 trader is under arrest.
First bunch we're looking at, they saw me. They ran off. So walked along to the next group of chaps who had set up. They were selling fake clothing. I asked him if he had a street trading licence, which he sort of laughed at. And I made an arrest for street trading without a licence and highway obstruction.
Putting bobbies on the beat is a priority in Oxford Street. The police hope CCTV will let them direct limited resources more effectively to target more criminals.
I have 34 constables attached to Oxford Street. On top of that, I have about 8 detectives, and they predominantly deal with handbag thefts and pickpockets.
Lovely. The detectives work undercover. They use special covert radios hidden under their clothing. Today, the squad is training officers from the Tyburn beat who also want to work undercover.
Can you hear that? Yeah, that's good.
First, they must learn to whisper to each other through hidden shoulder microphones.
Bit on your arm. The bit on your shoulder rather than...
The crime squad's role is to combat pickpockets and handbag thieves in the Marble Arch and Oxford Street area, be it on buses, in fast food shops, or even in the street or in the stores.
The majority of pickpockets are in Oxford Street, and they're probably about 200 a month. 60% of those are probably inside the shops, 40% on the actual streets.
Oxford Street's a very interesting surveillance environment in that it is packed with people. With a distance of some yards, people can become invisible and be lost in the crowd. We hide in the crowd the same way that the thieves do.
Okay, he's walking west, he's walking away from the shop. Someone got him.
We have the advantage of radio. They still need to know what each other are doing, yet they manage it without radio.
Yeah, Barney, McDonald's Hayward Fleet through. Let's follow. We've got a definite guy. He's been in and out of everywhere. Both teams are following him at the moment. We're definitely up to something.
Yeah, I've got him in a brown leather jacket, blue shirt.
Barney, can you let us know what he's doing in there?
Yeah, stand by, I've got the eye. I can cover the door from out here. We've got someone who's got the immediate eye in Dolces.
Yeah, Rod and Abby are with Dolces, Barney.
Yeah, he's using the mirror to look around, folks.
Pickpockets are in the business of stealing from the person. To arrest them, to be able to get sufficient evidence against them, you need to get very close. The officer needs to be familiar with pickpockets, as well as being able to communicate effectively and covertly with the rest of the team.
Pickpockets aren't that easy to catch. You can only catch them in plain clothes. And they're actually very accomplished thieves. They're not like the average shoplifter who'll just go in and take something. They're actually quite difficult to spot, even when you are in plain clothes. And they're quite good at it, even the bad ones.
But 2 pickpockets have been caught today, not by the crime squad, but by another detective working undercover. He's holding them on the bus and has called for uniformed backup from the Tyburn team.
That chap is a plainclothes officer from West End Central Police Station who's employed on the pickpocket squads. These 2, I think he's seen either steal a wallet or a purse up the road. He's on foot, these people are on the bus. So we've actually used our van with the blue lights and markings to stop the bus and apprehend the 2 suspects.
They jump on the tube where they live, come straight up to Oxford Circus. They come out of Oxford Circus, half an hour on the street, steal as many purses, handbags, what they can, back on the tube and back home to count their ill-gotten gains.
Description to all guards. Please be on the lookout for an IC1/IC 3mm.
In Oxford Street's biggest store, a security guard is looking for a suspected thief.
Supposed to be in the basement, but he may be on the 2nd floor also. This guy's a professional pickpocket. Apparently he hits menswear, but he's in the basement at the moment. CNA store detectives just popped in and gave us a ring. So the CNA detectives have stopped to follow him now. The last place they saw him was walking down our staircase into the basement. Yeah, positive, that's the description. Yeah, we're just this second as we speak. That's what I just picked him up. Tell Dave to wait outside the front store now. Yeah, with him.
Where's he going?
It looks like he's heading outside the store. He's got a wallet there. Just left through Feynman's doors, he's just got on the number 12 bus, and I'm going to phone up the Pantheon. Hello, it's Jason from Mob Larch. You got a known dipper on a number 12 coming up to you. He's an IC1/IC 3mm. He's got a cream-coloured jacket, brown trousers, burgundy tie. He hasn't done anything in our store. He's called in by CNAs. Okay then, that's all right. Bye. As far as we can take it now.
The cameras alone can't police the streets of London, and particularly not Oxford Street. You've got to have someone to respond to the cameras. You've got to have that visible presence.
Oxford Street's many shoe shops are particularly vulnerable to handbag thieves.
Oxford Street is specifically targeted by professional handbag thieves who will specifically target, for instance, tourists. If you are in a foreign country, you're going to have your entire livelihood to stay in that country with you in a bag, be it traveller's checks, money, passports. The thieves have worked this out, they know this, and they will target people.
He's definitely up for it. I put my bag out in faith, but he came up to me.
We use decoy bag operations. The decoy bags are not perhaps as easy as it seems. In essence, it's simply leaving a handbag unattended and waiting for someone to steal it. It's a little more sophisticated than that. Some of the bags we've got access to have radios in them, so they'll tell us when they're stolen, smart bags, if you like.
This Oxford Street pub is another handbag hotspot. The management have asked the crime squad to help them catch the thieves. This time, the stakeout is backed up by the pub's own CCTV. A woman walks to the bar. This is a professional bag thief at work. She puts her bag down next to one that's already on the floor, the potential victims. She looks around, and then, after a few seconds, moves both bags closer to her. Then she moves them again, even further away from the victim. Finally, after buying a drink, she calmly picks up both bags and leaves, 2 minutes after first walking in. Back at the police station, the crime squad checks the videotape to see if they can use it as evidence of the thief's identity.
Did she actually purchase a drink? Or?
Yeah, she has a drink and then she leaves. And just as she's leaving, the man comes back and realises the bag's gone.
Yeah, you recognise her?
Definitely.
From that, we've been able to identify the suspect.
The police say the 16 street cameras are now helping them arrest between 3 and 10 criminals a day.
For search, suspicion of counterfeit goods.
The camera's only partially the deterrent. I think what you've got to do is prove that there's someone working them, prove that people get arrested because of what they do on cameras.
This is the first piece of criminal action caught on camera in Oxford Street. 2 members of the Tyburn squad wrestle with a suspected fraudster.
He weren't so much attacking us, he was trying to escape. We weren't going to let him go. But his shirt come off in the struggle. He was slippery.
He went ballistic. I mean, this was flying around all over the place, and I was...
My radio had been ripped off.
Hanging on to various bits of him, and...
6 feet from me, my radio was on the floor. Couldn't get to it.
I was getting pulled along by his feet, and so Tony got the worst of what he was doing with his feet.
I was getting the top half.
As the CCTV control room sounds the alarm, security guards from a nearby store rush to help the policemen.
I think CCTV cameras actually saw us and put out a call saying that we needed urgent assistance, which we did at the time.
We did. If we hadn't got the assistance when we did, I think he would have gone away. This is what you get.
Between now and Christmas Eve, around 20 million shoppers will visit Oxford Street. Last year, in the run-up to Christmas, crime rose by nearly 15%, but there were no street cameras then. In the 7 months that Oxford Street has had CCTV, crime has fallen by almost a third. Videotape is helping change the odds in the battle between the shops and robbers. This year, those who run and police Oxford Street expect a happier Christmas.
Got him. Good boy, Nick.
That Crime Beat special replaced Car Wars, which has been postponed for legal reasons.